Gangsters, what up? I'm sure that we can all agree that Mr. D&D, better known as Nemzzz, is the latest artist of the UK rap scene right now. His debut album Do Not Disturb is getting a lot of traction, especially on TikTok and Instagram. You can literally hear his song everywhere, and they're very unique with those very floating melodies and cold as bouncy drill drums. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you the easiest and quickest way to make this style of beats. So if you're ready, let's get into it. Bow. As you can see, bro, we got a 99.9% bacteria killer. Like, the melody is clean as hell. Of course, I started with a sample, and I'm also gonna show you the way in which you too can find these kind of samples. So there's actually two methods. You can either go on Spotify or on YouTube. I've actually followed the first method. I went on Spotify, but you can literally do the same thing on YouTube. So all you want to do, as you can see from my research history, you want to look for R&B, soul, classic, R&B throwbacks. You want to go basically R&B type style, R&B 90s, R&B 80s type of music. Basically, you want to hop on a playlist and you want to start listening to songs that might have the vibe that you're looking for. And actually, the song that I ended up using is this one right here. When I feel what I feel. Yeah, bro, that's pretty much it, man. Simple as. You can literally go through a lot of other songs, man, until you find the one that you feel like has the most vibe. And of course, now we're gonna chop it. And of course, you can do the same thing on YouTube. You just need to type like R&B 90s, R&B throwbacks, and all these kind of things until you find a song that fits the vibe that you're looking for. It's still the same thing. So now let's get into the chop. So as you can see, this is the original whole melody, and the very first thing that I did was to pitch it up by 4 semitones. And then after doing that, I actually started to listen to the parts that I wanted to have in the melody. Bro, of course I didn't use the whole melody. So for example, I chopped this part here, which is exactly this one right here. And then I went through other parts throughout the whole song and found other ones that were suitable for the melody. And bear in mind that you gotta forget about the structure of the song, because this part here, for example, I think it was around here. This other one was somewhere here by the end, like somewhere here. So basically, I listened throughout the whole song and only kept the parts that I wanna have. So after the first chop, we got this other one over here. Then we got another one over here like this. Alright, I don't really want to go too much into the chopping process, but bro, if you want me to show you how I actually go about chopping samples and how I actually work with original melodies and, you know, to chop and flipping and everything, let me know in the comments. So the final part of the sample that we have is this one. So once I had the whole structure of the melody, all I did was to render out all the pieces together, and eventually I came out with this audio clip right here, which is the whole thing rendered out together as an audio clip. So at that point, all I did was to go through the tool over here in the melody, and I went to extract stems from sample, and I literally extracted everything: the drums, the instruments, the bass, and the vocal. So after doing so, thanks to FL AI, I came out with the stems of, like I said before, the drums, the bass, the vocals, and the instruments, and I only took the instruments and the vocals. Like, you see the way it is cleaner. So once done with that, all I did was to send the 2 stems into the mixer channel. So as you can see here, this is the melody in the background. And for the melody, I'm gonna show you the mixing process. So we got a very aggressive EQ here on these frequencies right here. And then we got another EQ with a cut on the low end, and a another aggressive EQ on the high end, because I wanted to make room for the vocals. And then last but not least, we got an RC20 to give some further vintage vibe. Like, the melody itself was already vintage, but I really wanted to enhance that vintage type of effect. Next element of the final melody is of course the vocal. So for the mixing of the vocal, first we got a compressor, and then we got an EQ. As you can see here, there's a very cut on the low end and on the high end as well, because I wanted to give that, you know, that again, that vintage effect. So I didn't want to have too many high frequencies. Then we got a Valhalla room with the default preset. Only thing I changed was the mixing, which is at 8.3%. And then we got a bit of delay with the ping pong preset, a little bit of reduction on the wet, like 16%, and also here the mixing has been reduced again. And then another thing that I did here was to stereo separate, so to make it a little bit more white. So once I was done with the mixing of the single elements, I also mixed them all together on the master channel. So we got an RC20, a dynamic EQ around these frequencies, and basically the dynamic EQ kind of works almost as a compressor, but it's just the fact that it's a EQ. So basically what happens is that every time the frequencies get above whatever point that you set the equalizer to be at, basically they get dug down. And as you can see, I'm gonna show you right now. You see the way it works, like every time the frequencies go above a certain level, like basically it works as a compressor and it ducks them down. Then we got a gulp, bro. I didn't even use it, man. What? Lord, let me get rid of it. And then we got a compressor, just to make sure that the level stays pretty much, you know, the same throughout the whole length of the melody. And then we got a fruity balance to boost the volume of the melody a little bit, because it got reduced a little bit. So yeah. And then another thing that I did here was to get this part here of the melody. So as you can see here, we got 8 bars of it. So what I did was to take this part and put it here, which is this one here that you see over here, but it's the same thing. So by doing this, we can actually have some sort of intro of the melody and then like the hook of the melody, and this is the way it sounds. Alright, now the hardest part of the beat is done. Like, I can guarantee you that the melody is the hardest part to make. Now we're getting into drums, which are very basic, but of course, man, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, man. Okay. Come on, man, you were about to forget. Don't worry, I'm here to remember, bro. Make sure to leave a comment, man. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram at Stepuz, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it. Pow. So the very first thing that you want to do is to set the tempo of the beat, and Nemzzz tends to go from 150 up until 160. There's some songs that are around 142, 145, but most of them are from 150. So I'm gonna go for 150. And now, of course, we got the melody 142. So what we're gonna do is to double click it, go to stretch, and then go over here, select fit to tempo, and select 142. So now if it actually matches the melody to the tempo of the project. So this is what we're gonna be starting with. Alright, so now very first step, we're gonna look for a hi-hat. Yeah, I'm feeling this one. And like I said before, simplicity is king, so we're gonna make a simple pattern. Yeah, very simple basic breaks over here, like nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. So at this point, what we're gonna be looking for is a clap. Like most of the times, Nemzzz beat have claps rather than snares or rims, so we're gonna go for something like that. I think I'm gonna go for the guitar clap. So at this point, all we're gonna need is the spin 808, and guys, that shit gotta be punching, man. Like, it gotta be pow, like pow, for real, for real. Of course, it doesn't have to be too harsh, but it must be a spin that actually has that, you know, that attack, that, you know, that gives that proper
what?
impact when it kicks. So we're gonna go over Imperium, and best spin that you can actually use goes from the Jersey mini kit, and is over here, the generic spins. And here I'm gonna increase the hour slightly, and I'm gonna set it to cut itself. So basically here what you want to do is to give it that simple classic Nemzzz type of bounce. It is very simple, you know, just try putting it wherever you feel like, but without overdoing though, because you still want to leave some gaps, you know, like the beats are very you know, spacey. There's a lot of space in between every hit of the 808. And here I feel like I want to give it a long break and then making it hit. Alright, at this point we actually have the beat, but of course it is Stepuz making it, so we gotta spice it up a little bit. So at this point I'm gonna add some effects, very simple basic stuff, mainly perks more than anything. So I'm gonna go over a Jersey snap over here that sounds like this. Another thing that I want to try doing to the 808 is to give it like a roll effect. You know what I'm saying? It sounds a lot clean. Yeah, very last thing that I want to add is this layer over kick perk. Or maybe I could even use an open head, to be honest. Something like this, maybe. Or else I could also combine them, so I'm gonna use that as well, and I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna get rid of this over here. Yeah, it sounds clean, bro. It sounds so cleaner. So I'm gonna duplicate the whole thing, and now I'm gonna show you the arrangement of the beat. Alright, as you can see for the arrangement, we ain't got nothing special, bro. For real. The only thing I did here was to give a cut of the patterns. As you can see, we got a break of 2 bars, but it's a very basic thing. Other than that, guys, as you can see, the beat is very simple. And if you notice, guys, Nemzzz beats are very basic. They are very calm, relaxed, collected. I'm not gonna lie to you, that is something that I do appreciate, because I feel like this style of drill, the same thing that I said last week on sexy drill, because with this style of drill you don't want to go too crazy with its sounds, with the arrangement and everything. Like the things, like the beat itself must be very simple, and that's the way you want to keep it. And another advice that I want to give you is to focus on the melody. I believe that that's the main part of the beat, as in it needs to be a very catchy melody. You can do this with a sample or even from scratch. I'm gonna show you in another tutorial. I've actually showed you already, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna link it somewhere here, the first Nemzzz tutorial that I showed you, but it's very simple. Anyway, bro, I'm gonna let you listen to the full beat. If you've enjoyed today's video, bro, if you found any value, make sure to slap a fucking like, man. I really appreciate that. If you want me to go through the chopping process like properly step by step, let me know in the comments, and make sure to follow me on Instagram, of course, bro. And I'ma salute you. I'll see you on the next time. Bow.
Stepuz on the tape.